Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentations. I'm sure when you guys see me, you must be thinking, oh, there we go again, gang related. But yes, let us give credit where credit is due. Thanks to SAPS, I can proudly say I had a blessed Christmas. And I had my new year started off very prosperously. No gun shootings. No fearing for our lives over the festive period. Unfortunately, about 3 weeks ago, we found a young man killed under a whole lot of trees. But that matter is being dealt with Poisons Police Station. No, really, guys, I got up and I felt like Cinderella during the festive period. Well done to SAPS. Unfortunately, there has to be an unfortunate or a however. We have young boys who's now decided they varados. Young boys, I'm talking 10 and upwards. They now deciding they're working for this one school dropout, and this child controls them. They haven't done anything. I haven't heard anything of them shooting, but what they do is they do rob people, cell phones, purses, and that is where it started. And I can say the mothers are trying. Most of them don't have mothers, but the moms are trying. So, once again, thank you. Thank you so, so much. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, members. I think we would like to join the band of welcoming the work done, and I think what the statistics are showing in terms of the decline. But it's important just to highlight a few things that maybe need a bit of explanation. You know, there's a sudden rise on crime categories in Sedibeng. I'm not sure if it's Sedibeng because of Orange Farm, or is it Sedibeng in general in terms of other areas of parts of the district. And concerning that, I also thought that maybe PC, it might be prudent that we just also update the committee on the leadership of districts if all the district commissioners have been appointed and they are in place, you know, and maybe it's one of the areas that maybe once a year we should do, just to look at the, you know, the level of staffing in terms of leadership. I'm mentioning the issue of leadership because we all are aware that with proper, motivated, goal-directed leadership, you know, a lot of police work gets done well. You know, that also includes down at the police stations. So it also begs the question on the level of staffing in terms of police stations, commanders in all the areas. And tied to that is the issue of, which I think this one should be for the committee and ourselves, the issue of the infrastructure of the police station. I think we have spoken about it when we're having the stakeholder meeting with on FIS, on Domestic Violence Act. But I think now we must at least do something proactively and follow up, monitor. You know, we get maybe a proper report from your side on the state of all your police stations in the province and what needs to be done on them, just to get a sense, you know, the assessment that you have. the issue of the states, Chakalani, on the, what is the base benchmark on the police action that is, okay, the states that come out of the police action? Because you said it's around 13%, it has increased. Crime detected on the basis of the work done by the police. I want to understand what's the benchline, the benchmark, maybe that we need to aim for. Maybe my feeling is that 13% is maybe still a bit low. We need to increase a bit on it. The issue of the foreign nationals that are arrested during the Valum Koti or activities and operations on the illegal, there's something that we are not doing correctly, because it means there's no follow-up on the action taken on the foreign nationals, or there's no prosecution, or there's no action that actually gets done. Because this number, 532, for me, it's a lot. So there must be something that we add on Operation Valum Koti that helps us to deal with those that we arrest and who are not here and who are not here legally and who are not documented. We need to do it. And my last point for now will be the issue on kidnappings. You know, I know that, but what other ways that we can be able to do besides raising awareness, being cautious, raising awareness, member son? Because it can't just be it should be the action of the police. Maybe the visibility can help, but ultimately we need to have some way that is outside maybe the hands of the police or the responsibility of the police, but what the communities themselves would have to do and what drives it. I know that the issue usually it's the ransom, particularly in some cases, but in others it's just general car hijacking and criminality. But the one that deals with ransom, there must be a way, Member Son, that the community itself can be able to, because there's something that draws criminals into this action. But overall, thanks for the work that you're doing. And it just shows that if we can really, real sense, increase our intensity in many spaces and the functionality of police, we can actually do much better. Over to you, PC. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Maybe let me say we really appreciate on some words of encouragement which we get from the members of our portfolio committee. Having said that, we have taken note of the honorable member events. We know for the fact that within that space, where you are, there's quite a number of challenges, but if our effort is noticeable, we really appreciate. And also honorable member Maluk, yeah, we really appreciate these positive comments which gives us an encouragement, but not limited to the two, because the two, they specifically made a comment in terms of thank you, and also all other honorable members. Yeah, to come to the questions. Honorable Son, indeed, during my address, I clearly indicated that kidnapping is a problem. But what has to be noted is that why Johannesburg? Johannesburg, we know for the fact that is serving most of the police stations. The province is serving 145 police stations. Out of 145, 42 police stations comes from that district, followed by Ekurhuleni, which is 39, and then Tshwane. Even if you look on the contact crimes, the presentation by the brigadier, clearly you could see the pattern in terms of your contact-related crimes. Contact-related crimes, Johannesburg is carrying a heavy weight, 38%. The districts which follows is Ekurhuleni with 23.8%, and then followed by Tshwane, 23.3%, somewhere there. When you look on the 17 is the broader categories of the crimes, you'll again realize that the district, it's having high percentages, followed by Tshwane. I think Tshwane is somewhere there 26, and then Ekurhuleni 24. But the Johannesburg is serving quite a number of police stations. And so most of the activities there are within Johannesburg district. What is that, what we are doing in terms of kidnapping? The Honorable Chair is also concerned. I should think we are concerned as members of the South African Police Service. Proactively, we're having the National Anti-Kidnapping Team, which we have linked with National Head Office, with quite, I would say, capable members of the South African Police Service from National Head Office. Our organized crime, which is led by Brigadier Khopani, we're having the members, those who deals with that. We also have your E2 project. I think I quoted that E2 project is Eyes and Ears, which is linked to the security industry, Business Against Crime, South Africa. In that way, we have resolved quite a number of cases with the security industry as we try to pair together in terms of the assistance, also the technology, more especially the one linked to this issue of withdrawal from the bank. We have resolved quite a number of cases because we are in a position to can monitor as and when this happens, to say there's a withdrawal, maybe in whatever location. We have also resolved this in terms of the hijacking, where we could also instantly go to those areas in terms of the technology. The Premier, I was in a cabinet report, the Premier reflected in terms of technology to say, what about the technology? But I did not answer too much at the cabinet report. I wanted to do one-on-one with the Premier so that we can have some typical type of a way forward in terms of certain things. So this kidnapping, for example, we had one in Kliptown, which was for the Chinese national, of which we have rescued. And I think an honorable member knows. In that instance, we went to a specific, I would say garage, a filling station. The technology helped us, we could see the cars there. And in that instance, we ended up cracking that case. It was a big syndicate. As you say, we must dismantle it. We ended up, I think, arresting almost 9 DC, 9 of those people who were syndicate connected to quite a number of cases. GP cases, they were involved in these kidnappings. So we ended up now I will say cracking down that particular case. But the problem which we have is that these issues, they come oftentimes these people, they regroup. One other case, it was the kidnapping, which was linked to, we had rescued a person, I think in Lens, where we ended up arresting a person with an Audi A3. We followed it up, Parktown, of which the embassy knows in terms of that. They even said they request that the members must be acknowledged in terms of the work of which they have done. We interacted in terms of shooting, and 3 of those people were fatally wounded. So we understand the frustration the community are having. But one other thing is that as and when we're having this getting reported, is that as a provincial commissioner, because I get a lot of this, when people they are frustrated, they think the PC will resolve this kidnapping. So I get a lot, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. So I'm having a team on which I activate through the center, 10111 center. I don't want to be blamed to say we reported to the PC, and what is the record in terms of this. Then from there, the 10111 center, the commander for RRS, Rapid Response in the province, he is responsible for quite, I would say, a lot of resources. Your highway patrol cars, your flying squad, you may name them. So based on that, when he registered that incident on the 10111 center, we then link with the organized crime in terms of activating the team where there are phones. Like in the instances of this, the young girl of 9, almost 10, the girl was having a watch. We were in a position to can follow in terms of that technology up until to Orlando, Nomza. And then out of that, they abandoned the car. The car was stolen or hijacked in Westonary. In the car, we recovered AK-47 with a lot of rounds. And then that watch have been dropped in there. So that system, it does work, because with that system, we also link with crime intelligence to ensure that the issue of trace and locate has to be activated through crime intelligence. I will not say too much in terms of that. So we do have that strategy which we're really trying to assist our community. And we have so many cases which is resolved. With this young girl, we also managed through intelligence to can get, as to say, the car which was used, it was for somebody else. The DC, together with the embassy, the personnel from embassy, they were camping there in Soweto at Orlando Police Station. We ended up cracking it down, the owner of the car, who is a girlfriend to this one of the suspects. And we ended up getting it right in terms of following up. We got the car which was used. But what is really important is that this issue of the ICVPS, the Integrated Crime Violence Prevention Strategy, is something which we have to take. We understand we are primarily responsible for fight against crime. But practically, you cannot get a police on each and every corner of the street. So that strategy seeks the involvement of the community. So we're urging the community as well to be vigilant, because some of these incidents which happen, you'll find that the contributing factor, one way or another, it might be the person who is driving this child to school. So you cannot overrule that. So we have really to work together, the community, because if you look on that strategy, there's a lot of things. There's a policing through environmental design. I can mention quite a number of them. Integrated governmental program. That's why I say with this IGR with the MEC Mamabulu, we are moving forward in terms of that. But the other thing is that the E2 project, the security industry, they also assisting in terms of the technology of the drones. The South African Police Service, I think, I haven't taken a stock, but in South Africa, I think Gauteng is having the most of the drone pilots. It's having the most of the drone pilots. Now we are sitting at 20, and we are having quite few of them, those who will complete the training. It's not an easy training to the drone pilot. It's not that easy. So we also having the drones. I've spoken to the Premier, I've spoken to the HOD in terms of the modalities of some of the drones which they have bought, so that we can just have a look on sharing of those resources, but we are using those resources. Illegal mining, we have to take note that on the side of illegal mining, based on what we have, really we are making a considerable, it might not be satisfactory, honorable members, but we are making a considerable effort as based on this presentation by Brigadier Banda. From slide number, if I'm not mistaken, if you check on this slide number 10, up until to slide number maybe 14, somewhere there, we having levels. The disruptive operations does help, I must tell you, it does help. On the 8th, we had, I think it's the 8th of February, we had like over 1 hour standing engaging the Zamazamas with the National Intervention Unit. We were fortunate, we should have lost one of our members because the bullet came, grazed this ballistic helmet. If it was not a ballistic helmet, that member should have been gone. So we managed to unset one of the Zamazamas at Blyvoor Schoon Plus in Carltonville. We managed to unset that, so one of them was shot and killed. We recovered 2 AK-47 and over 200 and something rounds. Then following that, on the 11th to the 12th, we had again these people going to a disused mines because the other programs, other departments must come to the party. And our public order policing, they engage those people, and out of that there was no fatality, but we managed to recover 2 AK-47 and a rifle which resembles like a R5. So with those activities, we are in a position to can say we are making considerable progress. But having said that, those are disruptives. The level 3 to 5, which is dealt by General Kadwa here, you could see here on slide number 11, we have clearly indicated that dealing with this issue in Midrand, we had a dealing in gold, cash and gold nuggets to over 700,000. You'll have seen in Sandringham there, when you move on slide number 12, your slide number 12 there, I'll just cite 2 in Krugersdorp, which is West Rand. We had this amalgam with an estimated value of 7 million. We arrested 1%. So that's level 3 to 5, because you're having, in terms of the region, you're having it in terms of national and then cross-national. Krugersdorp again, amalgamated with an estimated value of 30 million. 7 people were arrested in that respect. So we are making considerable impact, though it is something which one cannot say it is satisfactory to the members of the public and the representatives for the community and honorable members. The soldiers' deployment, I have indicated before I came here to say, in Gauteng, the deployment was made before the actual date, on which the actual date of deployment is from the 1st of March up until, when you count 12 months, I think it will be up until February. of which the Julie process has to be undertaken from the state president of South Africa if there has to be a renewal. So that deployment has since taken place. I've even given a few examples in Gauteng. But what we have is that on Friday I'm having accountability session where the operational members has to account on the issues of illegal mining, on the issues of tactical intelligence, like my intelligence, the issues of cash in transit ties. So out of that meeting, when we're done, we're having the operational matrix which determines to say where must we operate based on the intelligence led. So they are being deployed, and I've indicated that the defense or the South African National Defence Force, they are not in there to do the actual work, is to make sure that the safety of the members of the South African Police Service, it is there. The chairperson raised a concern in Alexander. I should think that is one lesson of which the members of the South African National Defence Force have learned in terms of the lesson. They are deployed with the senior members of the South African National Defence Force. We hope that they will take care of that. Rooiport visible policing, I've been in that police station this year maybe twice with Operation Shaja. You have to take note that I said this to the Premier. As a provincial commissioner, I have dedicated full 2 days in a week where I go outside and operate with the members on the grassroots level for Operation Shanyel. So we have reflected the national top 30, we have reflected national top 30 for, 40 for the province, so that we can be in a position to can take informed decision to which stations are we going. I was there in terms of being there in the morning. I take a holistic presentation. The chairperson has been in some of these meetings. I can't still remember whether the chairperson joined us on the ground or on the briefing session. But that profile for the station is in detail. It also look into the issues of the resources and make sure that where we have to give attention, we have to give attention. We're affected in terms of vehicles which are in the garage. I move with the garage manager for each and every place where I go, so that they can explain to say why this car is taking so long, why this one. And I can tell you in that interaction, it's not a nice meeting for the garage manager because we have to ensure that the vehicles has to be out there to serve the community. The gangsterism, you'll have realized during my address, I cited this one case where we got a conviction. I will admit that we're not doing enough in terms of that, because I even had a special meeting where I indicated to Brigadier Khopani to say this conviction is a very good conviction. I even sent it to the National Commissioner. The National Commissioner said to me, good work, but this is a gang related. Why we don't see a conviction for racketeering? So based on the project, undercover project which we're having with the intelligence currently, we're just waiting for a takedown for this undercover project. I will not say who, but it is across the board, and it is interprovincial. So when we take down, we take down. I said we must follow that system. But when they briefed me, they say this fellow, Booty, he was not having any substantial property or whatever. But I say I'm not satisfied if I don't see any charge on which this individual is convicted. in terms of racketeering, taking these properties, but we are really working hard on that and to ensure that these people, they have to be really affected when we got them. So that one, we are really moving forward with it. Honorable Member Melder, the crime intelligence. Yesterday I was at the Board of Commissioners. After that meeting, I had to meet the National Commissioner and present something with my provincial head, crime intelligence. And I was with the Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal. He passed the comments, he says, yeah, you are lucky. At least you come here with your intelligence. Me, I don't have. So, nevertheless, there were articulations relating to these issues of almost all members of the South African Police Service in Gauteng. They are working for cartels. So that statement, we have taken note of it, and from there, there is steps of which one have taken in terms of linking up with the National Commissioner. But what I have to say is that because I said 702 wanted to interview me, I said this report was not shared with me. So, but what we have to take note is that our crime intelligence, my provincial head, is having a dual reporting. He reports to me, he reports to the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence. So for whatever report comes out in this province, is coming from him. So I had to interact with him, and I could not get that sense. But since now, I'm having in-depth briefing in terms of related to those issues. Like, when was it? The day before yesterday? Tuesday, since 8 o'clock, or since 9 o'clock up until almost 4 o'clock. It was a briefing by crime intelligence for projects which we are working on. There was no phone. Honorable Member Son, he tried to get hold of me, could not get hold of me because the phone was not with me. So because the staff were talking there, it was quite a serious stuff. So we did not want that process to be compromised. So I can assure you that most of the things, you'll see them as we uncover them. The other thing is that, Honorable Melder, yesterday we were on the board of, it was special board of commissioners. We were called in that meeting, hey, it's taking very long. So, but we were called at 11 o'clock. One of the aspects is that for Gauteng, we have to deal with the task team similar to the one which is currently working, of which they appear in these commissions. So we have since established one based on that broad concept. So one of the issues which I was going there, it was to present to the National Commissioner. So we have that one in place, but we have unveiled the national strategy in fighting organized crime, where we have to look on the car hijackings, like in Gauteng, kidnappings in Gauteng. We have to have a specific teams dedicated to deal with this issue in order to deal also with the kidnapping. Part of the funding, the state president of South Africa have announced the 1 billion to the South African Police Service, which will use, but it will be used across the country. So it will be used for those specific problems of which we have it. I even said to the National Commissioner when they present, I says, hey, but here in Gauteng, I see everything is appearing. Yeah, it's appearing except stock theft. So hey, it means, yeah, no, we have a serious challenge. But indeed, Gauteng, out of the 9 provinces, we are carrying the highest percentage in terms of the contribution of the crime. Though we are seeing a reduction, we are carrying 26.1%. Other provinces which follows is not even 20. I don't want to mention the provinces. You find that I'm tape recorded, and then people will put specifically that saying on TikTok. So it will end up now creating problems. But what I can say is that other provinces, you'll find that their percentages, portion of their percentages is 17, 18, those who are following Gauteng. Then others is below 8, others is even 5, others is even 3%. So we're having a high volume in terms of our crime, but we know most of the population there in Gauteng is around or not less than 16 million, while the province which follows us, there's a difference of 5 million. And then there comes the others, it's more than 5 million. So we have to, to take note of that. Then Mthombeni chairperson, the crime, we know for the fact because once a week we are having the top management meeting, and then we discuss about the issues of crime within those districts. Taking into consideration the crime, the benchmarking of how do you get a decrease, how do you get an increase, is based on the previous year's reported crime. So you'll find that Mthombeni, in terms of the provincial contribution, in terms of contact crimes, they are contributing 7.8%, somewhere there. So unlike Johannesburg, it's 38. So you'll find that the figures is marginal. When it comes to the following year, maybe they've decreased with 1 case and then 2 cases, and then it's making that to be up. But they know for the fact when we come there, whether it's 1 increase or whether it's 2 increase, you have to put a decrease. The district commissioners for Gauteng, all district commissioners, they are in their post in terms of the levels. We're having 5 districts. Maybe I must mention that out of the 5 district commissioners, 4 is females. Ne? Yeah. 4 is females. Yeah. You are waking? Yeah, the honorable members, they are concerned about these crimes which is going up. So it must be seen. So maybe what the other thing which attribute to the line function management, people who have to pull the wagon, is the station commanders. We're having quite few of the station commanders. For example, previously we had, how many was it? Was it 4 or 5? Hillbrow, Diepsloot, Carltonville, Orlando. Those posts are vacant. They've since been advertised. We have done the interviews. I should think not so long, because after we have done the interviews, we send it to head office. Head office, then they do the moderation on those posts. Even shortlisting. When we finish with the shortlisting, they don't just take that list. They go and check it and send it back to us and say it's approved. So based on that, we have dealt with that. We just are waiting, because the other posts for lower levels, they've just been announced, of which we have appointed not less than 11, the full kennels, the full kennels post. So we are waiting on that one. But the recent vacancies, there is a recent vacancies because of people who retires. We have in the Johannesburg so far town, of which it still have to be advertised, and they will take that process flow. I know this question, Chairperson, it's really something which you frequently ask about this, the status or the buildings of the police station. We know for the fact that in terms of buildings, the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, they are responsible in terms of setting up our buildings. We are currently having two projects. The one is Innerdale, of which the police station is almost on its completion. If you go to Innerdale, you'll not like that police station, but you go next door, you'll find that on that side there's an up structure. We're having Kwatema, which was on the news. Kwatema, which was on the news, we went there with the National Commissioner, with the then DG for Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. Though there are quite a number of challenges when we get there, because the cities, sometimes they agree to say we'll do this, we'll do that. When you go deeper, now when we have to do the list, you find that the price is skyrocketing, is over the roof. But that one of Kwatema, the construction is underway in terms of those structure, which will be very much helpful, because that police station was not okay. So, and we go according to the list, but the maintenance, we are also taking care in terms of day-to-day maintenance, because there's such a budget which the stations has to use. Foreign national, no action. Chairperson, with the foreign national, in the country, we are the highest compared to any other province, week in, week out, in terms of arresting the foreign nationals. The issue of no action, we have to take note that the process flow for foreign nationals is that as and when we arrest them with Home Affairs come to the police station, they must do the process flow. They must come and check and confirm whether these people are illegal or not. Then they issue 212 statement. It's like somebody who specializes within that field. I think you have heard in these commissions, one of the experts in terms of analyzing these firearms to issue the statement 212. When the statement 212 is issued, the following day they are prepared to go to court. If you happen not to have a 212 statement, when they go to court, they're just going to say, we don't have this, and then they get released. Then from the court, after that process of the court, then they are referred to the repatriation center. Repatriation center is just here in Krugersdorp, Lindela. So that's the main. And then from there, Home Affairs take the process flow. I think you have once spoken to me to say, don't we have the mechanism after we have deported them? We must check whether they must not come back and all those other things. That's why this ICVPS has to play a role. Department of Border Management Authority has to deal with that. But I should think it's the challenge of integrating these systems, so that if we are the South African Police Service, maybe we happen to take the fingerprints, you can see this particular individual. We have once deported and the person is coming back. But that one, the department has to assist in terms of that. In terms of visibility, we are, of course, there in a visibility, but there is recently this TikTok video. They even take the the pictures of the members during COVID. You can see this person is wearing a mask there. They said, yeah, there is the most corrupt police official. Within Johannesburg and Hillbrow, they are taking between 500 and 5,000. But having said that, I have engaged my crime intelligence. I said, this is the position. And we are dealing with that. But some of these postings, they are not necessarily what it is happening, but some of the issues, it is for real, of which we are working on it. But we are happy that the community gives us, because when I go to the meeting on Monday, the Provincial Commissioner of Gauteng is the one who answers too much about the TikTok. Because any TikTok, I must go and explain myself there. And yourself, Honorable Chair, you know, you send me a lot of TikToks there. So, but it is helping. It's keeping me on my toes. I don't sleep. Sometimes the chairperson send it at 12 o'clock somewhere there. Yeah, that is the position of illegal mining. I think I've touched on this one in terms of our role and the ICVPS. But really, if we can employ these ICVPS, and we make sure that we also participate, because in some other instances, even where people are working for government, when I appear, I get more questions than any other person. I even said in Cabinet Houza, but I said it lightly. If we can so enthusiastic in terms of posing the question and participate also in the fight against crime, I think we can go somewhere. So let's work together. We appreciate for the question, which will make us to improve on some of the category. We really appreciate. Thank you, Chairperson.